Hey guys, welcome to Treehouse number 12. Thanks for coming. I'll just jump into sharing my screen quickly. If I can find the right screen again. Okay, so just wanted to welcome, had a few new members to the Treehouse group, so that's really cool. We've got 27 members now, spanning 9 countries, so that's really cool. So we might see if there's any newcomers in the room a bit later on, but yeah, just wanted to shout out to any newcomers, and yeah, thanks for joining up. So I've seen a few new names in the Treepl community as well, so it's good to see the growth happening. So I was just chatting with Alex, I think yesterday, so I got a bit of hot news from him. So he's saying that after the initial eCommerce, like the main eCommerce release around February 19th, they're going to be bringing on like a senior .NET developer they're going to be really looking at refactoring the underlying code of the platform, which he said will bring about huge performance improvements. So we should see that performance issue fixed, which I know a lot of people are finding at the moment. So hopefully there's good news after eCommerce is rolled out. He also said that the Liquid 2.0 would be sort of coming pretty well straight after eCommerce as well. So I think that's going to bring some stability issues as well, and hopefully works really well with the eCommerce. So some good news coming. I think, you know, they've just been really digging down on eCommerce, so it's just been holding everything else up. But it'll be good to see eCommerce sort of let some other things through once that's done. So I'll just share my screen again. There was some new templates as well. Oh, sorry, that was the other thing I meant to mention. In the next sprint, we're going to have secure zone documents. So documents being assigned to secure zone. So I know that's like pretty much the top voted feature. So that's really good to see coming. But yeah, onto the template releases. So there's 4 new ones coming, which look really good. But the main reason I wanted to show this is because there's an e-commerce one. So this, you can preview it, but it's not you can't use it with e-commerce just yet. But I think Alex said that was coming on February 19th as well, or pretty soon after. But it looks really cool if anyone's looked at this yet. I've got all the e-commerce features, and this product filtering, which I thought was really cool. That's going to be good to look at to see how they're doing that. So that's looking really cool. So has anyone started playing with e-commerce yet? No one jumping into it? I've had a fairly good look at it. It's looking pretty good so far. There are a few bugs to start with, but they jumped on them pretty quick and fixed a lot of them. I was trying to build a demo for eCommerce for this meeting, but the last eCommerce site instance I put together was running quite slow for some reason. But prior to that, they'd been going all right, so couldn't quite get that ready. But yeah, it's all looking pretty good. So no one's dug into it. Have people got e-commerce sites they are waiting on, or are you just going to sort of wait a little while longer to see come sort of February 19th and see all the bugs ironed out, that sort of thing? So I think, Giles, were you saying something? I think you're still on mute.
Yeah, I have 2 sites that I've been waiting patiently to transfer over from BC some e-commerce sites that I had from BC.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit nerve-wracking, isn't it? 'Cause it's like, is it going to be everything we need? And
Yeah.
I'll just have a quick look at the chat here. Yeah, it's getting the time to look at e-commerce, right? It's a pretty big one to look at too. It's a lot to cover. But from what I see, like, they've really covered pretty much everything. Perhaps some of the features that we can see in the admin aren't working just yet, maybe. But from all the things I tested, they all look to pretty well be working, at least in some way or another.
How's it going, Adam, in chat?
Hey, how you going?
I feel like my beard's getting grayer and grayer every meeting here, so I think I need to get a gray level.
Yeah.
I've been testing it out a little bit, but it's been a bit too buggy for me to even sort of do anything with. I'm more wanting to test it just so I can start quoting clients.
Okay.
Because I have more newer clients that want to go on e-commerce than BC clients. So I'm just kind of waiting for that stable version. So I'm hoping that this latest release is pretty stable. But the last few days with the slowness of the admin site has been tough. It's been really tough to work, that's for sure. So, but it's weird because it's only on certain sites. So it's I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason. It just seems to be like slow on one site that's like really minimal, right? So that's been kind of stopping my e-commerce quoting and development right now. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the very first e-commerce site I spun up was, the actual admin was okay, but just some things loading in the admin were really slow. But there are a lot of bugs, and then the next few that I did were quite fast. They were running really well. But just the very last one I did with the latest release was running really slow, which I hadn't really experienced too much of the slow issues to date. But yeah, this last one was pretty slow. But I'm sure they're going to nut that out. So, which will be good. So there were just a few sort of tricky things I came across with the e-commerce, which I just wanted to go over just so everyone was aware of them. So I might as well do that now. Okay, so when setting up the e-commerce initially, the main thing I noticed, which at first I thought was quite unusual, when you go into catalogs, when you start creating catalogs, see, the site's running a bit slow. When it loads, the catalog listing is like this. So obviously catalogs and products are built on the same module structure that like custom modules and all the other things are, but in catalogs it's listing like you would create the categories, like for filtering and that. And I thought that was quite unusual. But then I noticed if you go into the settings for the module, we now actually have a third way of listing the items. So we obviously had the list view and tree view. So under advanced settings, we now have this allow simplified tree view, which makes it look like how it was just then when I was showing. But you can change that back to the regular list view and even set that as the default. And another cool thing with this is actually in all the other modules as well. So in custom modules, we have this option available. So I haven't actually tested it, but I assume we can now use a simplified tree view in the creation of our custom modules as well. So that's just, I thought was one cool thing that came from the e-commerce implementation. And I assume they've done that just to make it a little bit simpler to view and manage catalogs, so you can sort of drag and drop them around, and because most people probably don't need to implement any further details within a catalog like descriptions and stuff like that. So that's the first thing that sort of surprised me. The next thing is, I think that you have to turn on some beta features, I think, that aren't on by default. I can't remember now which. I think Advanced URL Manager needs to be on for the catalog structuring to work. And the advanced payment flow. That I think you pretty much need to have that on to set up your currency for the country. And there's a few settings that, well, at least I needed to go through to set up that. So I think under settings, I think it was under payment. Once you turn on that advanced payment structure, you have the currency and format tab. So you sort of need to go in and set up your currency format. Well, the default might be okay for some people, but set that up. And then also under eCommerce, I think, forgetting where all this stuff is now, but so obviously your taxes, set that up. Domains, sorry. So I think under domains, you need to come in and set up like the default currency and whatnot for the domains. So I'm just making a note of this for you guys, just because at first for me it seemed to be a lot of different places to go to set all this up correctly. So you've got currency format, which you can open up here and select, and country and all that stuff. So I just thought I'd mention that.
Adam, one thing I know that, and I can't remember what BC did because it's been such a while since we've used this, but is the, because a lot of, if we're doing multi-currency sites, you need to be able to test the other currencies on the site, and not being able to do a domain setup at this level. But you can't actually do it until you take the site live, right? So it's a bit of a, it'd be nice if we can get at least do some sort of default. You can't actually use the domain, but it's there, just so you can actually start outputting for trial sites. Because I know for sure I have 3 sites that'll be like, they're using 4 different currencies. So I'm kind of like, oh shit, how do I test this? I don't want to test it live, right? So yeah, because it only happens on site activation. Yeah,
that's a good point. So basically, we kind of need a way here to add a domain, even if it's not physically added, like with DNS and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, or be able to add it through the partner portal, as a sort of a staging domain, I guess. That would be what I'm thinking. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you add it.
Yeah, right.
We're the only ones really going to be adding it. So whether it's here or the portal, I mean, for me, it'd be nice if it was all in one place. But as long as I have somewhere to actually add it, even in trial mode would be spectacular.
Yeah, right. Because I guess that for testing purposes, that domain would actually have to work, wouldn't it? Because it's when you go to that different domain is when the other currency kicks in. So it would actually have to be like a trial domain. And then when you add the real domain, you'd have to sort of switch that over. I don't know. I guess it's something they need to work out. But yeah, that's definitely a good point.
Yeah, I'm just looking at BC right now. It looks like you can set up you set up a domain in site domain. So you can actually just click new domain, create the domain, and then you can actually set the culture once it's set up. So it's actually not live or anything until you actually do the proper DNS, but
yeah, exactly.
You can still do it. Because I know Treepl was when I questioned it, they're like, well, how does BC do it? And I'm like, shit, I haven't been in BC in a while, so I don't remember.
Yeah.
But that's you are able to do it in BC.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I guess in BC we just access that under the. Well, how would you access that domain though? On a development site, you couldn't really, could you? But yeah, anyway, I'm sure they'll fix that up. It's definitely something we need, surely. The other thing I think that I've noticed in the latest release is that in the file manager, you used to have access to the cdm-assets folder. That's missing now, or hidden. I think they've actually just hidden it, because you can still access it via FTP, which I think this is a really good thing, because that was fairly dangerous to have that available for the admin. But also, if you do look at that via FTP, there's a whole bunch of new layouts there, particularly for e-commerce, but also for some other things. Particularly for things that had like virtual layouts, like the category and tag listings, and things for e-commerce like the little shopping cart preview and attributes list. You can actually go and have a look at the layouts and how they're working with the liquid and whatnot. So I assume from that you could copy and create your own list template, and relink that. So you can really get in and customize all those little bits that are being dynamically created. Whereas I know in BC, there was quite a few things you couldn't actually access, particularly with e-commerce. So it looks like we have access to all those little layouts and sub layouts. So, and it's hidden from the admin. So I think that's a good thing.
Adam, I have to say, like, I mean, having worked in Shopify, we have 8 sites in Shopify right now, and Shopify is pretty fun to work with, but it's very limited in some senses.
Okay.
If Treepl nails this, it's fucking game changing. This e-commerce, I'm telling you, the flexibility from a developer's point of view, it's game changing. Just having that open, the ability to do more than 4 custom property fields, you know, be able to like do all these custom list views, like it's crazy. So I know their focus is on BC migrations, but at some point, like, fuck, let's be better than these other guys, because that's the game changing stuff, right?
Yeah.
And once they can nail this speed thing, like, man, like this is the only platform I'd use for e-commerce, to be honest. So because of that flexibility, right? So
yeah, that's it. I think like this concept of a CMS, which BC had, and we're going down the right direction, and that's I think why we're all attracted to BC with this, being able to just pull in data from whatever module and part of the system and use it all together is really powerful, I think. So I think that Treepl's doing that a lot better. Using Liquid, you can really pull in data from anywhere and just manipulate things. So it actually said it's really flexible. So I think that's definitely a good direction. You know, and I think I wasn't going to bring this up, but you know, I think some people perhaps still looking for a platform or whatnot, sort of thinking that doing what BC did or copying BC is the wrong way to go, and we should all be moving on in different directions and that. But I think you know, Treepl, while they're copying BC to begin with, it's purely for the sake of migrating sites more easily, having a more familiar platform. But you know, long term or even medium term, there's going to be new features and benefits to push past what BC was. So I don't think they're so much copying BC to replicate it. They're just doing that that makes more sense for everyone's workflow. But yeah, it's going to be far beyond what BC was.
Yeah, I really think that those guys are very tired of needing to copying BC as of now, because people need to migrate and so on. I think when I talk to them, they can't wait to get done with this shit, to be honest, and just get on with it and begin building a lot of new cool stuff. And it seems like they have a lot of great ideas and a lot of things coming. So we just need to go over this last hurdle, and I think it's going to be even cooler. But as you mentioned, with the layouts in the e-commerce, as Aaron mentioned, being able to add custom fields as many as you need in e-commerce already there, it gives a lot of possibilities to move on and do better stuff. But I think when they're done copying, I think it's going to be a lot more in store for us.
Yeah, for sure. and actually reminds me of something Alex said. I think I'm allowed to share it here. That they have secured funding from their investors for work beyond BC parity. So they're well and truly ready to go beyond and then start implementing their new ideas on top of it. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Hopefully they start with email marketing, but we'll see. Okay, I think that's all the points I wanted to make on the e-commerce. Did anyone else notice anything in e-commerce? I think the actual checkout phase wasn't working in my last test, so I'm not sure where that's at, but everything up till there was pretty good.
Yeah, I was curious about the checkout phase. If anybody's has anybody tried it? I know for me, I was asking about the abandoned cart thing. Like that was a pretty big thing because I know a lot of our clients started using that in BC. So it was like now they need to stop using it. So, but I know Mailchimp has an abandoned cart option as well. So I just don't know how we can integrate that yet. So, but that'll be more like opening up APIs as well. So.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean with the email marketing. I'd like to see them really plug into Mailchimp because there are some good features there that they could really leverage. But we'll just have to see. I think that's going to take a little bit more time. But who knows? Maybe with how flexible and open and the access we have with Liquid, maybe we can patch together our own sort of shopping cart type thing. But so secure, like paid secure zones and things like that. Because I also noticed in the products, I think there's something to do with subscriptions to products as well. So I'm pretty sure that's probably not working yet, but that looks interesting. That I think we're going to be able to tie in reoccurring payments and secure zone stuff with access to products perhaps as well. Or the ability to pay for any sort of item, whether it be a custom module or product or whatever. But yeah, I haven't looked into that yet. I'll just have a quick look over the chat. So it looks maybe like a question from Giles. A bit off topic, but I would like.
I was gonna say I might have a question. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically with regards to secure zones. You know, in BC, how we used to be able to, like, I know they're pushing me to try to push users to the back end of Treepl and modify the back end and have them look at form submissions from there and cases or they're form submissions for all intents and purposes now. But I have a client or a couple of clients actually where I really need to kind of dumb it down to a point where I need to build it into a secure zone where they log in. They log in as an employee from the front end of the site. They go to a secure zone, and I used to have this with BC where it showed all of their cases based on workflows for different staff. It would assign different cases, and they would show up. The cases would show up, and they can close the case from the secure zone or forward it to an employee or something like that. We had all that functionality. So that's one big site that I'm hoping that we can get that functionality down the line. I'm being told that it may be something that I could add to the workflow or something like that, is what Code Production was mentioning to me. But I just thinking your thoughts. Is that something that's hard? That would be hard to develop from like beforehand. I'm not a big developer myself. I'm more on the graphic side of things. So
yeah, no, I know what you mean. I can pretty confidently say that that's in the works because that will come with the custom CRM. So yeah, they're gonna. That's already in the works, and we will surely be able to list out cases. And in the, which I mentioned before, the CMS-assets folder, if you look in F2P now, there's actually a layout for cases. So that's pretty promising that there will actually be a layout for that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that will come with the custom CRM. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's perfect.
And I think that will come pretty soon after the e-commerce is settled down, because that sort of goes hand in hand with e-commerce. So yeah, we'll see that come. So just check the last chat here. So yeah, feel free to speak up if anyone else got any questions or anything like that. So Ryan's just asking about everyone's feedback on the WYSIWYG editor. Ryan, did you want to say anything about that, or we'll just finish reading your chat here?
Sorry about that. I had to unmute myself there. Yeah, I think one of the only things that I'm running into is that the editor is a little bit limiting for some of my clients to apply styles to certain elements. I think it would be, and I know it's in the backlog, so not pushing to have it put in front of anything else, but that's kind of maybe one of the only frustrations I've gotten from clients. I know the biggest complaint about Adobe BC that I had was that it's just hard, unless it's a custom web app, it was really hard to make changes to content. Especially if you wanted to format like a 3-column grid or apply a list style or something like that. Now with BC, you could just add a class to an element, but it seems like that's not available in Treepl, or I don't know how to do it if that's possible. But I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, from what I know, I don't think we can add classes yet. I'm not sure if that's in the backlog or not. I think I remember seeing something about it, but
yeah, I think I brought this up a while back, and if I'm not mistaken, you added it to the backlog, so I think it's in there somewhere. But I know they have a lot. Everything's got to be top priority for them, so I know that they'll get to it when they can.
Yeah. So Scott says he's just releasing their first paid subscription. So having a few niggles. Yeah, I'm really interested in the paid subscription stuff. I haven't dug into it again much lately, but yeah, it'd be interesting to know what sort of issues you're running into there, Scott, or what you found good about it as well.
Well, we're in early stages, but what we've learned is there's a few little secret sauce items associated with the forms. And once we sorted that out, I think we're in pretty good shape on our first one here. Where literally our use case it literally fits the original event use case, where the subscriptions are access to a secure zone on a time period basis. So it's a kind of a perfect use case. But what we have not been able to test, and maybe someone could shed some light on this, and maybe it's not testable, it looks to me that the Treepl folks haven't exposed the daily or weekly renewals. And so we're kind of stuck waiting for 30 days to test if everything actually resolved itself on renewal. But that's a little bit of a confusing and concerning factor. Now, in our very specific use case, we have annual renewals. So we have a few days to worry about. But I'd sure like to see them release the daily one so that we can literally test and just make sure the customer experience is sound. And that's what our niggles are all around the customer experience. There's so many bits and bobs that are unpolished, so to speak. So we're trying to polish around the edges, of course. And that renewal, that monthly or annual renewal, customer experience is part of that polish.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are my comments. So far, so good.
Yeah. Well, from my early look at the paid secure zones, I know that the integration with Stripe and creating that recurring payment in Stripe looked pretty good, and when you cancelled it, would cancel the secure zone and vice versa. So I think the integration looked pretty tight. So I think that'll work okay for recurring things. But yeah, like you said, just what's going to happen with like the email that they get or to remind them and things like that. So yeah, it's a bit tricky to test at the moment. Catherine's asking, does anyone know of a good liquid course? Yes. I want to put one together, but time. I haven't come across any courses on liquid. Does anyone else know of a good place to start? I found the documentation, like the Shopify documentation, just pretty good to follow. But yeah. Maybe like just digging into the templates and seeing how Treepl set things up, that could give a sort of a good understanding of those sort of basic sort of setups. But yeah, I'm sure there's some out there. Okay, Ryan's provided a link there to some liquid stuff. That's cool. So sorry, Aaron, do you want to share something?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this one for a while. So I was going to put it on the feature request, but I thought I'd bounce it off y'all for a bit. I just want to see where you guys' heads are at with this sort of stuff. So I'm just going to share my screen here. One sec. Okay, let me just save this. All right. Yeah, I'm working on a plastic surgeon site, by the way. That's what I'm doing here. It's not, I'm not going creepy here. So one of the things I'm noticing on a lot of websites that I'm doing are the system emails and the system pages. And I'm finding that I've come up with a resource that's great, but I literally have to like, okay, on a new site, I got to move everything over, change the colors up, change the logo up, and then move on to the next site and kind of update it all. And it's not only, it's the sort of the workflows, it's the, inviting an admin user, because right now, if you invite an admin user, that system email is very generic. So you probably want to put your brand logo on there. You want to do all this kind of stuff. So I was kind of thinking like, it might be interesting, an interesting thought is to actually have the ability to port over generic templates from your Treepl portal over to live sites. So you're going to be able to assign those templates. I know BC had something similar to that, where you could actually port over some of your styles, your CSS styles, font styles that would actually go into the WYSIWYG Editor, so something like that. But being able to actually go in and like maybe there's another tab on the left here, but where you can port over system generated system pages. So where you can go, oh, okay, I'm going to pull the 401. I have an awesome 401 page that I've created on another site, but I want to use it for all my sites now. Where you can actually define it, you can actually pull the information directly from the partner portal. So the information would live in your partner portal. And from what I gather, the partner portal is your instance, and then all your sites are part of that portal. So I don't see how that porting wouldn't be an issue. And so basically I'd say, okay, cool. Like, okay, I'm going to choose this template, but you know what? I'm going to use this template that I've assigned on the portal. And then, because literally once the site goes live, I'm like, okay, I got to update this page. I don't like the SVGs in there. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm not actually using H1 tags. I'm using H2 tags. And then I need to make sure I get rid of this crummy Treepl extra CMS that they add, which completely locks up the page. So I need to get rid of that. So being able to do that kind of stuff. And the same goes for email marketing as well. You have your, your system emails that you create. So, okay, like let's do a standard. I have a generic template that I always use now. Looks nothing like this. I've gone through all my pre-tags and everything, my this tags, I've got everything formatted, but I literally now have to like, I'll go to, let's go here, admin. I love actually logging into all the different sites now. It's so much faster than BC, right? So I'll go to workflow emails. So I've pre-set up I basically use this for all sites now. So I'll just copy all this style. It's got everything pre-formatted, and I'll probably just go to this site and go, okay, I'm just going to paste this in here, and then I'm going to adjust the color. I'm going to adjust the links. But that kind of stuff's really easy to do, right? So once you get it in there, then you can make your pre-adjustments. So anyways, I'm just bouncing the idea off you. I was going to submit this as a feature request, but I thought I'd open it up in the floor and see if you guys are interested in it. It's all about workflows, right? And if you look at the other platforms like Blueberry and what's the other, Cyclide. I know Blueberry is making a really conscious effort from the partner side. Like their portal is like, I don't have any sites on that. I've just actually been trying to log in. But I keep not being able to log in, but they're making a real effort on that partner side, the integration, right? So anyways, thoughts?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. The more of those sort of tools we have to develop with, the better. Like, I guess for me, I sort of have my core site that I've gone through and done a lot of that stuff you're talking about, and I just duplicate that all the time. So that's kind of how I get around that. And I think also you could probably use FTP fairly easily enough to just swap those files in. I guess I haven't really worked with FTP in that regard much, but I guess there's those ways. But yeah, I think if they could build something cool in like that, it'd make it more flexible, so you can just pick and choose and swap and change. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, certainly some workarounds that you could do now to sort of get around that. So yeah, sounds good. Write it up. And I think that would come in hand with those styles you were talking about too, which BC had. Yeah, you could plug the styles into the WYSIWYG editor and that, so you could have a set of styles you could port to different sites. So yeah. All right. Has anyone else got any issues or successes? Or anyone made breakthroughs with their liquid learning that they can share? Hope's just written, what is the site search keywords field? Oh, okay, yep. So I think that was brought up in Slack just recently. So it's, from what I understand, it's an addition to the site search function, so you can add additional keywords for it to search against. So it was using the name field and the description field, but now there's just an extra field we can plug in some more specific keywords, I guess. So I guess if you've got pages that you really want to show, like come up in searches, you can put those keywords in. Yeah, I think did we have that in BC for everything, or was it just products? I can't remember.
It was just products. Yeah, I think it was just products. BC bolded the items that were queried, and I know Vlad seems like he's all over that one too. So
yeah,
for this new functionality.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I mean, sort of two minds whether that should have been in the SEO tab, but I guess we don't really use keywords for SEO anymore in that, I guess, a meta tag or something. But yeah, as long as
Adam, one thing, I don't know if you guys have been following my threads, but I've noticed two things. I know they're working on it right now. There seems to be an indexing issue with tags and categories right now, which they're aware of and that they're fixing. The interim solution is to just use a different property field, so use checkboxes or radio boxes, or just let your site reindex and just wait. But yeah, we all don't have time for that, so we just need to figure that out. And then the other thing I found out is custom modules. You can't do custom workflows for user-submitted custom module items. Hopefully it's in the near future, but I've tested every single angle. It's not possible right now. So you're only stuck with the one workflow for user-submitted customer inputted workflows or custom module items.
Yeah, right. And they just fire on that first instance too, which is frustrating.
Well, it sounds like they're going to add 2 extra boxes now, potentially. That there is like for every update, like a checkbox for every update, send a workflow, which is good.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, awesome. All right, guys, well, I'm going to stop the recording now and we can chat further.